Ukraine's GUR military intelligence agency said on Friday a Ukrainian drone attack had hit a Russian military base deep inside annexed Crimea, while residents reported casualties, explosions and a road closure. Early on Friday, Russia reported one of the biggest coordinated Ukrainian air raids yet over Russian-controlled territory but said air defense systems had downed all 42 drones attacking Crimea before they could hit their targets. People, not only on the Ukrainian mainland but also in Crimea, need to remember and believe that our victory and their liberation are not far away, Ukraine's military intelligence chief Kyrylo Budanov said of Friday's strike. Perevalnoye residents, posting on the Telegram messaging app, reported hearing blasts from the military base and cited casualties. Reuters could not independently verify the reports. 2 people died on a firing range, one was taken to a hospital in a severe condition. This is information from above, from the firing range, said a user nicknamed Abdulhaz, whose profile picture shows a man in camouflaged uniform. Another user, Vlad the Local, said roughly 1 person was dead. Why was a gate to the military town closed? User Julia asked. Another resident with the call sign Lee asked others not to disclose information. Residents of Perevalnoye, I strongly recommend, don't write here what happened and how, Lee wrote. We help them to direct fire in the future with that. Ukraine sees advances on Bakhmut and Melitopol fronts, General Staff. Ukraine has advanced on 2 fronts in southern Ukraine with successes near Bakhmut, the Ukrainian General Staff reported on August 25. The Ukrainian armed forces continue their counteroffensive on the eastern Bakhmut front and the southern Melitopol front. Ukrainian forces achieved success on the fronts of Novodanilivka, Novoprokopivka and Mala Tokmachka, Oshertavate. Troops have been working to secure their captured positions, launching artillery strikes on identified Russian targets, and implementing counter-battery measures. On the Bakhmut front, Ukrainian forces continue their offensive actions south of Bakhmut, consolidating their positions at the front lines. Russian forces undertook ineffective offensive actions in the Avdiivka, Marinka, and Novomykhailivka regions in eastern Donetsk Oblast. Russia is suffering significant losses in personnel, arms, and equipment, and is actively deploying reserves. Ukrainian forces remain resolute in impeding Russian progress on the Kupiansk, Lyman, and Bakhmut fronts. Intense clashes persist. The armed forces achieved success in the area of Robotyne, as confirmed by the Ukrainian General Staff. Troops are solidifying positions and have raised the Ukrainian flag. The village of Urozhain in Donetsk Oblast was liberated on August 16, reported Ukraine's defense ministry. Defense forces reclaimed 9 settlements in southern and eastern Ukraine in June. Ukraine liberated the village of Staromayorsk, located next to Urozhain in Donetsk Oblast in July. Ukrainian defenders continue to create conditions for advancement step by step, said Ukrainian Armed Forces Commander-in-Chief Valery Zaluzhin. Ukraine breaks through first line of Russian defense, U.S. Joint Chiefs Chair General Milley. Ukraine's counteroffensive is bloody and slow, but the Ukrainian armed forces have crossed the first line of Russian defense, U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Chair General Mark Milley said in an interview with Al Mamlaka channel on August 25. Ukraine is currently conducting a counteroffensive operation that has been going on for almost 8 weeks, he noted. The offensive is bloody and slow, but constant progress is observed, Milley stated. Ukrainian troops advance 400 to 500 meters daily, and sometimes up to a kilometer. They crossed the main first line of defense, he said. This defensive line, which the Russians spent many months preparing, is minefields, dragon's teeth, and anti-tank trenches. The Ukrainians still have great combat power, and this is not the end, Milley stressed. It is still too early to judge the success or failure of the attack. It is clear that so far partial success has been achieved, Milley stated. The speed of the counteroffensive is slower than expected, but this is not uncommon in war, as war on paper is different from war in real life. When people are dying and you're destroying tanks and anti-personnel armor on the ground and you're going through real dragon fangs and real landmines, things are slower because people's lives are at stake, Milley explained. Ukrainian counteroffensive, latest. Dismissing criticism on the slow pace of the counteroffensive, Ukrainian forces are on the verge of a breakthrough, said Ukraine's commander-in-chief, Valery Zaluzhny, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. Ukrainian forces continue to create conditions for moving forward step by step, said Zaluzhny. The General Staff confirmed the success of the armed forces of Ukraine in the direction of Robotyne, stating that the fighters are entrenched at the achieved boundaries. They continue to advance in the direction of Melitopol. Ukrainian troops entered Robotyne, a village in Zaporizhia Oblast, on August 22, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. The next day, they raised a Ukrainian flag over the liberated settlement. The liberation of the village of Urozhain in Donetsk Oblast was confirmed on August 16. In total, Ukrainian forces recaptured 9 settlements in the south and east of Ukraine in June, and the village of Staromayorsk in Donetsk Oblast in July. Earlier, the New York Times reported a new phase of Ukraine's counteroffensive, focusing on the southeastern front, where Ukrainian forces are making gradual progress through minefields and facing attacks from Russian aviation. Top U.S. general says Ukrainian forces have broken through Russian main lines of defense in some areas. Throughout their counteroffensive, Ukrainian troops have managed to attack through Russia's first main defensive belt in some areas along the front lines, Chairman of the U.S. Joint Chiefs of Staff Mark Milley said in an interview with Al Mamlaka TV, a Jordanian public broadcaster, published on August 25. Specifically on the axes of advance that Ukrainian forces are attacking right now, Ukrainian forces have attacked through the main defense belt, Milley said. The chairman noted that Russian troops have been preparing a deep line of defense for many months, and it has minefields, dragon's teeth, and tank ditches. It's a very complex set of defensive preparations that the Ukrainians are fighting through. CNN also reported on August 25, citing Ukraine's general staff, that there are signs Ukrainian troops have broken through Russian defenses along the southern front line in Zaporizhia Oblast. Milley told Al Mamlaka that it's too early to say whether Ukraine's counteroffensive has succeeded or failed, calling the push very bloody, slow, long and difficult. He added that after having liberated a considerable part of lands occupied by Russia, Ukrainian forces have a significant amount of power remaining, and it's not over yet. Responding to criticism of the pace of the West's military support to Ukraine, the general said that Kyiv had received what they needed when they needed it, mentioning the provision of anti-tank weapons at the start of the full-scale war as an example of allegedly timely assistance. Ukraine's counteroffensive has been ongoing in the east and south of the country since early June. On August 4, Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said that the Ukrainian military had passed through the Russian first line of defense, moving to the intermediate one, in some places on the southern front line. And there they are faced with concrete engineering fortifications on the dominant heights created by the enemy. This, of course, complicates the movement of our troops and the combat actions, Maliar said on national television. The General Staff of Ukraine's armed forces reported on August 25 that Russia had lost 259,630 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of its full-scale invasion on February 24 last year. This number includes 470 casualties Russian forces suffered just over the past day.